dog is that?
I literally just muted myself too because I was like, yeah, you can use the dogs outside, can't you? So
Anyway, great
I apologize
start.
if you heard me
And we're off, folks.
throughout. So
This reminds me of an episode of Dive Cuts because Sam's dogs will always would make an appearance and get up to trouble. So anyway, hi, welcome to Majority Rules. This is season 1, episode 18. This is a podcast about Mizzou Athletics Majority, which is Olympic sports athletes. I think since we've started this podcast, we've only ever had one episode in which everyone was here, and you can see that is still not the case today. One day, we've gained Quentin, we've lost Abigail, and today I'm not piping in an update from Abigail. I'm just going to read a note on behalf of her. So, oh God, the coughing's starting already. I'm your host, Karen Steger. I'm not contagious. I just have a tickle. I am the softball, gymnastics, and co-swim beat writer and Olympic sports manager at Rocket Nation. And then we'll go around and introduce ourselves. And then if you will give your New Year's hope, oh my God, or wish for Mizzou Olympic sports. It could be one sport. It could be a few. It could be plausible. It could be just a dream. Whatever you'd like to do. I'm going to go to Matthew first.
Oh, I was not prepared. I'm always like the last person to go whenever we do this.
You were right next to me, so I went to you.
Okay, fair enough. Hi, everybody. I'm Matthew Gustafson. I am the volleyball, wrestling, and co-baseball beat writer for Rock M Nation. And my hope for the new year, because Karen kind of stole mine, is that Mizzou baseball randomly sweeps like a top 10 opponent for the third straight year. They have not been very good for quite a while, but for whatever reason, the last 2 years they've swept a team that went to the College World Series.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know why. It's really strange, but it's the best tradition Mizzou baseball has going on.
All right, then let's go to Rory.
hi, I'm Rory. I'm the one with the dogs. I am the swim and co-baseball beat writer, which I feel like I've got the great sweatshirt on for it. It says baseball is my love
Nice.
language. My dad got it for me for Christmas. My New Year's wish is that Mizzou swim comes out with a win this weekend, which I'll talk about a little more later, but otherwise their only win will be for the women against Arkansas. So I'd like to walk away with a win for both teams this year.
I think that the chances are good.
Mm-hmm.
For this one.
It is. It's good. It's good. But I need to put out some good station for
positive
them.
vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Nice. All right, Quentin, to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Quentin Corpuel. I am a starter on the football and men's basketball beat and a sixth man on the women's basketball beat. I'll be coming off the bench tomorrow, filling in for Dylan when the Tigers take on Georgia in Athens. So looking forward to that. Before I get into my Mizzou Olympic sports New Year's resolution, Rory, I'm going to be super for real with you. I thought your sweater just said baseball and not everything beneath it.
I was thinking about that because I was like, oh, the way it's framed, it just says baseball.
And I was about to be like, hell yeah, I love
just
that.
Baseball.
That's a great
That's
sweater.
a great sweatshirt on its own.
If
Yeah.
you know me, it's just baseball.
Yeah, no,
It's like the college sweatshirts that just say college.
Right? Well, Obvious Shirts is a big Cubs brand here, and I've got a couple from them. I've gotten yelled at because I have one that says St. Louis is boring, which I get heckled for pretty often.
Mm-hmm. Wait, do you want to hear a funny story real fast about shirts? So when I worked at Target, I had a red, I don't know why it was red. I had a red JJ Redick t-shirt and it said Redick really big on it. And I would wear a flannel over it unbuttoned. And
I know exactly where this is going.
I used to get stopped and be like, I'm sorry, what does your shirt say? Anyway, moving on to Dylan.
If I could say one
Hold
more
on.
thing, I feel like a sweatshirt that just said baseball across it is what Rob Lowe would wear to an MLB game.
Good
Yeah.
call. Yeah.
Wait, can I say my resolution before?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay, just making sure. Sorry, I just had to. That was a thing I noticed about Rory. I was like, wow, that's kind of awesome. Also, second side note, really quick, Rory. I remember when we were in theater class together. You showed that shirt.
Yes.
to theater class, and everybody bemoaned you. I thought it was cool.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you wearing that in a class where you probably knew you were going to be in the minority. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that.
I appreciate that.
My Mizzou Olympic sports New Year's wish is for Mizzou women's basketball to be fun. I don't even care if they're that good. You can be not that good and still be fun, because women's basketball right now is fun. Men's basketball is fun. The NBA is fun. The WNBA is fun. There are so many fun teams
That
everywhere.
Unrivaled League is going to be fun.
Oh, the Unrivaled is going to be awesome. I'm checking in from the great state of Maryland, where the Terps are currently in a clash of titans with USC over in College Park. That's fun.
Southern California, not South Carolina.
Yes, the University of Southern California,
USC.
the real and true USC. Mizzou women's basketball, A, is not fun right now, and B, has not been fun in a few years. And under Robin Pinchton, they have generally not been fun outside of the Sophie Cunningham years. And when I am at Mizzou Arena for a Mizzou women's basketball game, or even watching on television, the atmosphere really sucks. It's empty and dead and sad and dreadful. And it's like, what's the pitch? Like right now, why should I take time out of my day to invest in Mizzou women's basketball right now? I don't think you can put together a really strong one. And you look at, even within the SEC, so many fun teams, great games every single night, and Mizzou is nowhere near most of its conference. And so even if, let's say, next season, Mizzou doesn't put itself in even at-large territory, if Mizzou is fun, that's progress, because right now there's not a whole lot of fun in that program. And I would wish the same upon sports like baseball and soccer, which have also severely lacked fun, at the very least in my time at Mizzou, which started in August of 2022.
It's a good call. Dylan, now to you.
Yeah, my name is Dylan Heinrich. I am the starter for the women's basketball beat writer, but Quentin will be taking over for me as I have an actual job that I need to work. So that's what I will be spending my Thursday doing, probably trying to sneak watch as much of the game as I can. And then I am also the soccer beat writer. And like Quentin said, soccer hasn't been the most fun sport these last couple of years. Last year, you saw some flashes in the pan, which is why my resolution for this year, my goal, finally see some success. Make that SEC tournament. Put yourself in the running for the NCAA. Finally try and get a win off one of those top 25 true contenders in the SEC. Finally push that turnaround that maybe is happening. You're starting to see some of the clocks and some of the gears turn, but we're really looking for that big push, that barrel to start rolling and get that momentum riding for once.
That's good. And then I'll give mine, since I didn't yet. So Matthew said I took his, which was that I hoped that whatever good juice, magic juice Brady Cook got shot up with at the Auburn game is somehow given to the wrestling team and they come back to life. I would also like said magic juice to be given to Mizzou gymnast Lauren McPherson. I'm going to need some juice for her too. More on that later. I want gymnastics to make nationals again. I don't think that that's a crazy thing. And as a special bonus, my New Year's wish is for a new women's basketball coach. Sorry, Robin, but time's up. Time's up.
Oh, not the Dame Lillard. Oh, not the Dame Dalla. Dang. That was bad.
And with that, we will move to our favorite sport to talk about, women's basketball. So we had 2 SEC games so far and 2 losses. Are we surprised?
Nope, not at all. I think this isn't even something to do with Mizzou. Like, grand scheme of things, 2 losses, never good. We knew this Mizzou team coming in weren't going to be world beaters, suffered some pretty tough losses, but you look at the schedule, South Carolina on the road against Bama, those are as close to scheduled losses as you can pretty much get.
Yeah.
You miss, obviously, your LSUs, your Kentuckys, but for the most part, it's 2 of the top 6, maybe even 5 teams in the SEC. It seems like there's a pretty big gap between the true like contenders, your top 25 teams who are going to make the tournament, somewhere between a 1 and a 6 seed, and everybody else who are now losing to teams like Norfolk State and Oral Roberts. Fun fact, there were multiple SEC teams that lost to Norfolk State and Oral Roberts. Mizzou's in both of them. But, I mean, these were pretty much scheduled losses from the first time you saw it. Saw some fight in the first half during both of them, but it just, again, you run out of steam. The foul differences, couldn't really shoot your way out. Just a tough set of games for Mizzou women's basketball.
Yeah, can't say I'm surprised with the results. As Dylan said, South Carolina and Alabama are very good. I not only expect both of those teams to make the NCAA tournament, but I would expect them to win at least 1 or 2 games, if not more. However, it really continued a theme of Mizzou really struggles to score against other good teams. It's great that Mizzou can drop 90 points on Jackson State, but Jackson State is one of the worst all-around teams in the entirety of women's college basketball. So that's not saying a ton. Where you really got to speak up is against your conference foes. And even as those 2 games were against really good teams, Mizzou didn't really look competitive in either of them, except for a little bit in the first half against South Carolina. But then the Gamecocks put on the gas pedal, and they ended up exiting Columbia, Missouri with a pretty big win. One thing I've tried to look out for, I mentioned it on the last episode, but if Mizzou is struggling to make 3-pointers, can it supplement it with a steady diet of 2-pointers and free throws? And that answer has been no. Past 3 losses, because I'll throw Oral Roberts in there. And it's interesting because Mizzou with 3-pointers is like, all right, we're not going to shoot a ton of them, but when we do, we are going to make a lot of them. Low volume, high efficiency. Past 3 losses, 3 of 16, 5 of 16, and 3 of 12 from beyond the arc. That is not going to cut it at all. And so I guess looking ahead to these next couple of games, you got Georgia and you got Florida. Now, the thing about the Georgia game is similar to this week with the men's team. Georgia right now, other than Arkansas, is probably the worst team in the SEC. Georgia right now, I believe, is exactly 500. Yes, they are 8-8. And Georgia,
they lost a lot of unsightly non-con games.
Yes, they lost to Georgia State, Hampton, Colorado State, and those were its non-con losses. Sorry, didn't mean to dog on Colorado State for Collins native Dylan Heinrich. But those are probably teams that your average SEC team not only beats, but beats by a lot. If Mizzou loses to Georgia, I don't see another win on the schedule other than Arkansas, because everybody right now looks better than Georgia other than Arkansas. So I think tomorrow's game is extremely important for Mizzou winning more than 2 or 3 conference games, especially because here's this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game stretch from the end of January into around the middle, late February. We got Oklahoma, Auburn, Mississippi State. I counted wrong. Let me reset. Goodness gracious. All right. Oklahoma, Auburn, Mississippi State, Texas, Tennessee, LSU, A&M, Oklahoma, Kentucky. Ouch.
Is that 9?
That was more.
And
That
then
was
at
more
Ole
than
Miss.
7. I counted wrong twice. I haven't taken any math classes since I got to college, so I'll blame it on that. But that's rough. That's really rough. And I think if Mizzou can't walk out of Athens with a win, they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Auburn with
I think
Coach CY's daughter, who has been killing it.
I think another thing, of course, is going to be like your home and away differences. So obviously going at Athens, I think is going to be just as challenging as home against Florida, because Florida beat Georgia. So I think that there's still a solid chance to win that game on Sunday. So again, home and away differences. How much does travel really matter? Atmosphere, that whole gist. But again, like Quentin was saying, these 2 games, extremely important. You need one, preferably both of these, just for a confidence standpoint, not even SEC standings, chances to make the tournament. You need to win one, preferably both of these games, just to snap out and say, hey, we can win SEC games. I don't believe they've won an SEC game since last February. So it's been quite a minute.
The guys can
they were on
do
a long
it.
losing
They
streak
can
to end
do
last
it.
year. So this, exactly. It feels like it might be that time. But like Quentin said, it's a really, really long road ahead. I think they have one of, if not the most difficult schedule in the SEC. Getting Oklahoma twice is rough, having to go at Texas. And then, of course, you have South Carolina, LSU at home. But you just got to deal the hand that you've been dealt. And that starts again, like Quentin was saying, you got to get the win tomorrow.
If Kim Mulkey shows up to the LSU game wearing what she wore the other day, can they shoot at her? Because she was technically wearing the basket.
Like a basketball or something else?
The basketball.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
All right, just making sure.
I don't think it'll count for points, but I
Well,
I
hey,
would
if
be
she's
more than
wearing
happy
a hoop, then
She was
Yes.
wearing.
technically yes. Oh boy. I mean, look, just to round out, like, I guess this, and then Dylan, if you have any other lasting thoughts. I watched Tennessee and Oklahoma on Sunday. I mean, look, neither of those teams are very good at defense, but I watched them on offense, and both of those teams are in a completely different universe than Mizzou on offense. Like Mizzou, they just get stuck so often. It gets late in the shot clock, and they haven't really gone anywhere. And with teams like Tennessee and Oklahoma, that's the class of the SEC. One of the reasons is because they're so proficient. There's so much good stuff happening on offense. There are people setting screens and moving off the ball and creating for themselves, not just on the interior, but with 3-pointers in transition. They're firing away like stuff is happening. And Mizzou isn't doing that very much at all. So I just wanted to make that note.
Two
because I
things.
think it matters a lot.
One, what is Florida's record? Do they have a chance of beating them?
Florida's 10-6. The thing I worry with about Florida is that Florida can score. They have a
And that
really
is
good
a
offense.
problem
They're
with
averaging like 80 points a game.
Okay.
I think that, Mizzou's probably going to go into that game as an underdog, but there's enough wiggle room there. Again, unpredictability of basketball. It is taking place in Mizzou Arena. I don't think that Florida is up in arms an incredible team. They're not part of the class of the SEC, like Quentin was saying. So Mizzou is not walking in favorites, but I would still put them probably 40, 45% chance even to walk away with the win.
Okay.
One of their
And
best
then-
players is also 6'6" and averages 16 points and like 10 rebounds a game, which might be an
That's
issue.
That's an issue.
I don't mean to put like bad juju out in the universe, but like if you had to give a percentage of like how likely is it, or what's the chance that they repeat with a 0 like the men did with no conference wins last year?
Oh, Rory, you're gonna
Like-
get us in trouble.
With who?
I think we covered this last episode too, right?
Yeah, I think it's like Quentin.
Hmm.
I'll throw out a number if you think. I would say 25%,
Okay.
maybe 20, just because there's a lot of games. Like there's a
Well,
lot
yeah,
of opponents
yeah.
that I don't think, like Florida, Georgia, Arkansas. We've seen troubles from A&M and Auburn at times. Like on paper, yeah, this Mizzou team not the best, but I think there's also some teams in the SEC that are going to struggle. This is not a Mizzou only problem. So again, what happened with the men was just so unlikely, and they lost so many close games. And the
Yeah.
Well,
Mizzou
yeah.
women's team
Yeah.
last year was great, but they still managed to scrape out 2 wins, including a road one against Vandy, which made the tournament. So again, anything
Yeah.
can happen in basketball. And I think just overall, the competitiveness and the number of games is going to help in Mizzou's favor in that aspect.
I've just got the
I-
fear of last year like stuck with me forever now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they also not win a single game after that Vandy win?
Oh, they beat Georgia at home, and I think that was
I
after
think-
the Vandy one.
I think so.
I can't remember. That Vanderbilt game was really fun, though.
That game was
But
incredible.
the fact that Vanderbilt game was probably the most memorable part of conference play, that's not good at all. But Rory, to answer your question, if Mizzou played Arkansas twice, I would say probably not likely because Arkansas is really bad. Like, I am so glad Sailor Poffenbarger got out of there when she did and came back home to Maryland because they were really bad. And I feel really bad for Izzy Higginbottom, who's balling, former Mizzou Tiger. Izzy Higginbottom.
Yeah.
She's averaging like 25 points
I
a game. or
forgot that
something
she transferred to Arkansas.
Yeah, she started at Mizzou and then balled at Arkansas State
Yeah.
and stayed in Arkansas. It's just that the team is horrid. But Mizzou only gets Arkansas once, and it's on the road, which is not as ideal as if it was at Mizzou Arena. So I would probably ballpark it around where Dylan said, 20 to 25%, even though that's literally like half of 50, more than half of 50. That's still not a good number at all. And I also think the thing you have to consider with the men's team, sorry to go on another like quick men's
Oh,
tangent,
yeah,
they
that's
suffered so many injuries last season.
Mhm.
Their injury
Mhm.
luck was awful. And knock on wood for the health of Mizzou women's basketball, they haven't experienced that to a great degree. Not going to leave out the qualifier. They haven't experienced awful injury luck like the men's team did last year. So I think it's very unlikely. I'd be really surprised if they went winless in conference play. That being said, I would still expect Mizzou to be playing very early in the SEC tournament and have an extremely long road to a miracle NCAA tournament berth.
Okay. Before I let you two be done with women's basketball, I want you to each think of one thing that Mizzou is doing well so we can leave this conversation with good vibes.
Is having Grace Slaughter in my answer too easy, or do I have to pick something else?
It's fine. I'll allow it.
All right, Dylan, you go first. I'm going to try to think of something more nuanced than Grace Slaughter has played really well.
I think it's just like the fact that this team is still young. Like the future, I think, for Mizzou is still in a very good spot. Like Ashton Judd is still not in her senior season. She's got one more year. Grace Slaughter is still only a sophomore, and she's arguably the best player on this team. Abby Schreck is still a major piece and should be for years to come. So I think that there's some really exciting pieces that this team has. And I think in the long run, all this time playing against these top-level opponents in the SEC will pay off. Yeah, it really sucks right now when your lineup consists of a lot of sophomores and juniors, especially coming off the bench. But I think as a whole, the team will be a lot better for it. Obviously, Judd and Slaughter are your main two, but I think even someone like a Hilka Fedrape, the more that she sees the floor, the more that's going to help her grow as a basketball player, which turn around senior year in 2 years, maybe things are completely different. And Hilka Fedrape is a very successful piece of this team because of the time she got as a freshman, sophomore, and junior.
Okay, nice. I like that
I
one,
like that.
Dylan. So in my quick search of good things about Mizzou basketball, I tried to avert from, oh, this player's been playing really well, and then I couldn't think of anything. So I am just going to go with Abby Schreck. She has blossomed into not just an awesome three-point shooter at the SEC level, but like a nationally awesome three-point shooter. She's been that way for most of the season. Obviously, the explosion started sort of against Norfolk State when she desperately tried to save them from another upset loss to Norfolk State. Sorry to bring that one up again. Didn't think that was going to happen. Apologies again. But then she goes 8-14 against Western Illinois. I'm like, holy crap, that is awesome. I think we've talked about her on the show multiple times before. At least Dylan and I, we saw these flashes last season, but now they're coming in greater quantities. And she's not only about 40% three-point shooter, she's already shot over 100 threes, I think, which is pretty good volume for this point in the season. And so I've really appreciated seeing her grow. And she's also only a sophomore, so she's got a long way to go. And I hope she sticks around because there will probably be a head coaching change at some point in the near future. And she is one of the ones I would like to see remain a Missouri Tiger.
Will she take half the crowd with her? Her whole family sits right by me.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that'll be made up for and people going to the games for the sake of watching the whole team.
That's true.
That'd be great.
I think Grace Slaughter will be a must-see talent in 2 years. Like, she's already basically averaging double digits as a sophomore. Like, this girl's going to be good. Like, I don't know about WNBA good, but good.
She's going to be good at Texas. Jokes. Kidding. Jokes.
I think I've had a dream of her in a K-State uniform, and it's like haunted me.
Dear.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We were supposed to lead this conversation on good vibes, not nightmare.
He started it.
Hey, that's a byproduct of her playing really well. So I guess you can call that good vibes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We have reached the swimming and diving portion of our program by our resident swim fan. I can tell that you've been getting really into it, Rory.
Yes.
I love to see it.
I love
Mizzou
that.
faced off against Louisville on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
How'd it go?
Not too much of a high note over here either. Big loss. But honestly,
there were some good parts.
Exactly. And it doesn't hurt as much as you would expect because it's kind of expected. I mean, Louisville, they're a powerhouse program. They're in the ACC where you've got a ton of other huge swim schools like Virginia, who's been national champions for, I want to say 2 years now. So, you had to kind of pinpoint little wins that you wanted to see heading into this meet.
They're both ranked in the top 10.
Exactly. They're 8 and 10, I want to say respectively, or 7 and 10, somewhere around there. So they face off last year in the dual meet where the Louisville men won by a score of 205-89. This year changed. It was 193-107. So advantage of 18 points you gain there, which in swim can be quite a lot depending on whether you're winning an event or you're just taking second, third, those podium placements. You can get points up to around 5th or 6th place. It kind of depends on where everything falls out. The women last year lost by a score of 203-96. Pretty much same score this year. It was 204-95. But they had a couple more wins this year than last year, even if the score doesn't necessarily reflect that. I did kind of a preview of where I thought they could escape with some wins. Mainly, I figured it would be in the shorter distance events, 100, 50, especially thought maybe Luke Niebrick in the 50 free. But I was wrong. The 1,000 freestyle.
Well, he didn't do bad.
Well,
he didn't.
He took second, guys. Like I'm not trying to say that was was a disaster. No, but the 1,000 freestyle, I was terrified of. The Cardinals have a couple swimmers who have already set these insane records. One of the freshmen already has a pool record, which is huge, but none of them were slotted into the event, which I wasn't expecting, which is good for us or good for the Tigers. So they won, both the men and the women won the event. Zoe Schneider swam a lifetime best of 9:50.49 to take the top spot, which moved her to 4th all time for Missouri. And then on the men's side, Jabron Hensey, don't know if I'm technically pronouncing that correctly. He
Sounds
won,
good.
right? He won the men's race, which moved him to 7th all time with a time of 9:14.94. And then a couple other swimmers in those two events for Missouri also set lifetime best, which is a very common theme throughout this program, which is good to see. Normally, I feel like you kind of see that towards the beginning of the season. You're fresh, you're breaking into the pool, and Missouri has a swimmer's pool just because of the way it's built. So, but the fact that they've sustained that throughout the season, every meet, they're getting faster and faster is huge to see. But other events where the Tigers pulled out some wins, Grant Pachensky in the 100 back, Emily Roden in the 200 fly. Good to see her back in that event. That's a huge event for her. She's battled injuries all year. And then Jan Zubik back in the 200 fly. He is insane in that event. I think he's pretty much won every time but once, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's where he's at. That's his thing. Grant Pachensky in the 100 backstroke is undefeated at home. So they also scored another point in that event, thanks to Griffin Craig, Philip Peschke points in the 200 back. They just had these little points here and there, but it was more event wins than they saw last year. And then again, as I said, Luke Niebrick, if he had been able to replicate that 1952 time from Georgia, he would have won the event, but he swam a flat 20, which was good enough for runner-up, which is still good. That's still a huge amount of points. But yeah, with the swim team, like with this dual meet, I feel like every time I've done interviews or talked to anybody, they're going through a lot of tough training.
Yeah, he
right
said
now
like
in
January, the last month and a half.
Yeah, exactly. Which for January for swim is pretty common. But there were a couple notable swimmers that were missing from this meet, which I don't know if that's because of the training. I don't know if that's because of illness. I think we'll kind of figure out whether or not they're back next week when they're back in action. But we'll see. But for diving for this meet was also huge.
Yeah.
Collier Dyer continued to just dominate on the boards. He had a showing at the Winter Nationals where he had a placement, and then in 3-meter against Louisville, he won the event with a score of 375.60, and then also set a season best on platform. He also won that event. And then on the women's side, Gabriela San Juan Carmona won the 3-meter as well. So big wins for them, which they kind of needed. I feel like they've kind of been in the shadows in a couple of recent meets just because they went against Purdue, which they're a huge diving program, and they haven't really had their chance to shine. But I feel like this Louisville meet was a lot of them really stepped up.
I was going to say, I feel like the diving has really stood out over the last month.
Mm-hmm.
Really improved.
Yeah,
because,
they have.
that was against Purdue, against, I think it was A&M they went up against. They were at a huge disadvantage, and that really cost them in both those meets. So if they can have diving be way more competitive the way it's been over the past month, that is going to help a lot when they get to some of those more competitive meets where they have a slight edge in the pool. Now they're not going to lose that when it comes to diving.
Yeah, I think
because that counts as a whole nother individual event.
Exactly.
So that's like the big thing I wrote something about it over the summer after the Olympics, is with this roster limits coming down starting next year, it's really important for diving to prove its worth so that they can stick around. That part, it sucks. I would really like to talk to Coach Grievers at some point about his thoughts on that whole thing. I will say for Mizzou's program, they're, they may get a win here or there, individual events, but the SEC, swimming against the ACC, those teams are just above and beyond what Mizzou is, and that has nothing to do with Coach Grievers or anything like that. But where Mizzou can get its points outside of, a win here and there is going to be like stacking up depth. Maybe they're not winning, but they're getting third, fourth, and fifth or something like that. Because if they can at least stack after the first one and kind of pick up points there, it's as good as winning.
Yeah, you ultimately can walk away with a similar amount of points, even if you don't win the event, which is really big for them.
Yeah.
Which I feel like you saw this last weekend. You won't see in this upcoming event, or just because they're going against Missouri State and McKendree, which they just have a fantastic track record against. So next weekend should be a breeze. But in things like the SEC championships and the NCAAs, those points that they can grab onto will be a big deal.
Yeah, because you don't expect them to beat freaking Olympians.
Well, yeah. And it's unfortunate that too, Missouri, it's a state where they get over. It's like you're just not in as fortunate of a bubble where you look at teams on the East Coast like Florida, who's just an absolute powerhouse. They have Olympians rotate in and out of there constantly. You've still got Katie Ledecky.
Teams that can swim outside all year round.
Exactly. California, you can swim outside all the time, which you see with schools like Stanford. And it's not the same type of competition you can as easily get here in Missouri.
Yeah. Yeah. So coming up, like you said, Missouri State and Division II McKendree, that will be next Friday and Saturday.
Yeah. Tigers have beaten Missouri State dating back at least 10 years. That's as far back as I went. So
I'll be there on the Saturday for sure.
I will not be back in time, but I will be keeping up on my computer.
And I'll see what time it is on Friday. We'll just have to play it by ear because after that they're off until SEC championship.
Yeah.
So
they do, I believe, have
either watch them then or it's going to be a little bit.
They should have a diving event. They won't be here. They'll be at Air Force towards the very end of January. So pretty much literally in 4 weeks. But yeah, then nothing until the SEC championships, which it's a shorter season. If you look at compared to the last 2 years, there was normally at least another meet or two, but just I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I haven't had the chance to ask Grievers why exactly this season looks so different compared to last year, but
yeah. It is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. Random question, because I heard Air Force. Is Navy a good swimming school?
I don't
know.
Because you think they would be, right?
I would hope.
Right?
You would certainly hope that the Naval Academy has some good swimmers.
My computer wants to load. That'd be awesome. All right, let's see.
Just like I feel like Air Force would have a good diving portion of their swim team.
Schedule 24. They're 9-3. They swam against Virginia at the beginning of the year, but there was no team score. They lost to Penn State, but not by too much. And Penn State's pretty good. Beat UMBC, William and Mary, George Mason, Loyola Maryland. Lost to LSU. There's a conference. It's like against smaller schools, but they still look pretty good.
So you're saying they're DMV merchants?
You have to imagine that they've probably got a really good.
Oh, they lost to Army.
Pretty
handily
wow.
too.
They lost in swim and dive to Army.
The Army.
That's gotta hurt. That's gotta really hurt.
That's wow.
I know. I feel
why
like
don't we focus on Navy Army swim meet? Like
I feel like Navy could just throw out like a couple of future Navy SEALs at like the 1,000 meter and just be really good. I know.
Maybe they're trying to. It's a fake out. Actually, they don't want the rest of the world to know how good they are.
They're hiding them all.
Oh, by the way, when Rory was talking about the 1,000 free, I did not figure out how many points the men scored, but the women did score 15 points in that one event.
Let's see. I can figure that out.
It was pretty crazy, and that's how
I want to say we had a second place finish too, right? Yeah, Connor Boatwright. So. Oh no, Connor Boatwright was fourth, and so it was just those two. So third, what is that? At least 12?
Should be
right?
Something like that.
12, 13. You have 9 for winning, and then it goes down, but it goes to 5 or 4.
It's like 9 to 6 or 9 to 7.
I think it's 9 to 6. So I think 13 points, maybe. I don't know. It fluctuates. It's not like a straight. Doesn't just.
It also was kind of weird too. Like on my crazy spreadsheet, like that they improve so much in the 1,000 because they are in Hell Month.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd think you would be like really tired.
You'd want to die.
Not do well in the distance event.
No.
Hell Month was in fact impacting breaststroke.
Okay, so they only
that was not good.
They had breaststroke. I'm not even gonna. We don't even need to touch on that. They scored 11 points. It goes 9 to 4.
Yeah, so between the two of them, 26 points.
Yeah.
In the 1,000. See, that's how you get back into it, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I still can't believe Navy lost to Army in swim and dive. They must have practiced in the dirty part of the Chesapeake that week.
What was your takeaway from the newest Majority Rules podcast? Oh, that Navy actually lost to Army in swim.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Rory.
You all right? Recap in 2 weeks, guys.
Next up, gymnastics is back. Gymnastics is back.
Gymnastics went not boxing.
I boxed because gymnastics is back. They enacted another sport upon me. That's how excited I was.
Can you do like a somersault or at least like a cartwheel to show it then?
Do you want me to do a handstand right now?
Please. Sorry, we're derailing your segment, Karen.
Pretend that this is Hannah Horton on the bars.
Oh, I think we've got our very own Hannah Horton representative right here.
Wow. All right, guess we need a men's gymnastics team.
We need like a score, like 8 out of 10.
Oh, wow, that's a perfect. What was
10? The difficulty?
It is not.
The
judges are strict, guys.
I'm the judge, and I give it a 10.
can't even do a cartwheel, so
it's a 9.6.
I'll take that. That's a pretty good score.
I was going to say that this pen is Hannah Horton on the bars, and then she does a double layout. So she flips once and twice and then sticks it.
Wow.
Good job, Hannah Horton. That was the accurate body position, though. So anyway, gymnastics is back. And if you haven't yet read my 4,000 word recap yet, not even kidding, it was 4,000 words. I don't know what you're waiting for. I swear it doesn't actually read like it's 4,000 words. Yeah. So Beauty and the Beast, the beauties did well. Matthew will share about how the Beast did here in a little bit. After the initial scare of some lower scores, which left us wondering what on earth was happening. I am extremely happy with the team's performance, especially when compared nationwide, because there's a new judges evaluation tool this season, and it seems that they are going to be checking up on the judges to make sure that what they actually are giving gymnasts should be what they get, what they should get, not overinflated scores. So, like, I see Mizzou's vault score, and I freaked out because they haven't scored a sub 49 score since 2023. They did not get a sub 49 all last season. And I'm like, that was garbage. Turns out garbage, still 6th in the country. So maybe not garbage. Maybe everybody's garbage. So I take back my garbage statement. However, so as of Sunday, though not everybody in the country had a meet, Mizzou was one of just 4 SEC teams out of 8 to have, or 9, it's 9 now, sorry, to even have a meet. So not everybody is going to have a score to figure into the rankings, because the rankings are purely based on your scores. Mizzou sits 5th overall in the country, 3rd on floor, 6th on beam, 3rd on bars, and 5th on vault. So good. Are there still concerns with the team? Yes, there could be some injury problems. There also this new scoring thing. Kennedy, I don't know how to explain it. Kennedy Griffin did exhibition beam. Nate and I rewatched that thing like 3 or 4 times. We cannot figure out how she got a 9.6. Like, we don't know what the judges were looking at. Good thing she was exhibition, so it wasn't going to count anyway. But even talking with Shannon afterwards, he was also a little confused as to how she ended up with a score that low. So it's almost like the judges are being like a little too overzealous with their deductions at some point. Other things to kind of worry about, there may be some injury concerns. Elise Tisler, who is one of the 10.0 start value vaulters, was noticeably absent from the lineups on Friday. We did ask Shannon about it after the meet. She's fighting a bit of a hyperextended elbow. So she should be back in a couple meets. She'll be fine. Mizzou did obviously miss out on having her amazing vault, though. So they had to put somebody else in there instead of her. The bigger problem, which we are actually not sure how big of a problem is that Lauren McPherson, my big one to watch, she's the one that's from San Jose State and did the all-around, has been doing the all-around through all the inter-squad meets. She was noticeably in a boot and riding around on a scooter.
That's usually not a good thing.
Yeah. We don't know if it's preventative. We don't know if it's, God, I hope it's not Achilles like Grace Ann Davis's was, because she's already out for this season. We don't know at the moment. So we asked Shannon about that first. That was the first question that was asked in the press conference. And he described it as a lower leg injury thing. And that she is being reassessed early this week. So they may know already what's going on with that. It did suddenly happen because the day before, the Booster Club president was at Mizzou gymnastics practice and said that both Elise and Lauren were competing in practice. So somewhere between practice and the meet, something happened. So,
Karen, I have a question about that. Was it just a boot or was there a cast too?
it looked like it was a walking boot. She had a walking boot, and then she was on like a one-legged scooter.
Okay, so I am so far from a doctor, but casts I think are usually worse than boots
Yes.
because Avery Kroenke had a cast and a scooter last year. And I found that out when she zoomed past me on the sidewalk on Tiger Avenue. I was like, wait a second, Avery Kroenke's in a cast and a scooter. She's also moving really fast. It's pretty cool. I've never seen someone move so fast on a scooter. But I think a walking boot is usually better than a cast. So if that gives you any hope, I guess that's good.
Well, and I went back and rewatched. What was that, Matthew?
At the for Mizzou volleyball, Marina Krenover was wearing a walking boot at the selection show party, and she had played the past 2 matches or 3 before that, and she was completely fine during the tournament, despite wearing a walking boot. So, yeah, I think that's definitely less of a concern than a cast, but, still sometimes is not a good sign either.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to know, too, because it had to have, just happened, whatever it was, since she had just been in practice. And she was I went back and rewatched the whole meet last night because I'm a psychopath and was watching bars, and she's clear, she's not jumping up and down, but she was not on the scooter. She was standing there kind of, having a good time, not looking like she was in an enormous amount of pain. So I'm hopeful that she will be okay and just be out a little bit. But the fact that we don't know anything yet worries me. So I don't know. It really sucks too, because she's a grad student. So this was going to be her last year. So I really hate for it to end this way. So everyone cross your fingers that. Otherwise, gymnastics wise, I realized I didn't even really say anything about the meet. It was a lot. Dylan was there, I know, and Matthew was there. It was overstimulation. There was so much stuff going on. It was so hard to focus. I don't think I saw a single other team do anything else. I saw a little bit of wrestling when there wasn't a Mizzou gymnast competing, but it was loud. There were people everywhere. It was crazy, but it was a good event. It was cool that they did it. It was cool that Brian Smith coaxed it out of Shannon. He said it. Shannon told us afterwards that basically it was because Brian Smith and his wife really wanted it to come back. And that's basically why it came back. It was great to see the team though. Super fun. The floor routines, though, not given the greatest scores, or pretty much what everybody else got. They looked fantastic. Bars, which one of the gymnastics podcasts said was going to clearly be Mizzou's downfall, bars was incredible. Absolutely unreal, and even Kaya killed it in the exhibition spot. It was so good. I don't know what Whitney Snowden has them doing, but it is working. It was phenomenal. It was a really fun event, and I loved it. And if you look on social media at one of the Mizzou gymnastics posts, there's a picture of a press conference where Shannon and Amari and Addison Lawrence are sitting there, and Shannon is talking to somebody. He's talking to me. It was me. I undoubtedly was asking the wittiest question in the universe, judging by the looks in their faces. But yes, I was like, that was me. And I know it was me because I was the only person over there on that side. So that was pretty cool. Next up, they head to Denver. Yes, I did pay $9.99 for that stream, so I'll be able to watch it, which means I also will miss the basketball game because they are an hour apart. And whoops. So I will have a preview coming out about that. That will be against Denver, who is right with Mizzou in the rankings, Long Island University, and Georgia. This is the first of 2 times that they will meet Simone Biles' coach, Cecile Landy. So yeah, that is all for me with that. Moving on to wrestling. Matthew, yikes.
Yeah. Wrestling portion did not go as well for Mizzou at Beauty and the Beast. They end up losing to 12th ranked Cornell, last year's national runners-up, 26-12. Tigers are now, I believe, 2-7 on the season. That is their worst start in about 25 years, and their 7 losses this season are the most since 2019-20. And remember, they have something like 6 or 7 meets remaining as well. Negatives, injuries, obviously. 5 starters for Mizzou are either out indefinitely or out for the season, including the medical retirement of Noah Certain, and Rocky Elam is out for the season. Keegan O'Toole is out for at least the month of January. We haven't seen heavyweight Seth Nitzel since November. We saw 165 Cam Steed make his return from injury. He was out for a couple weeks at the Collegiate Duels in Nashville. That lasted exactly 89 seconds, and he got injured again in his first match.
Holy crap.
Yeah. I don't know what they need to do to lift the jinx or whatever it is, but yeah, it's been a rough year.
Secret juice.
I don't know if even that'll work. But among the wrestlers who were there, start with the negatives, get that out of the way. The key starters remaining for Mizzou are Josh Edmond at 141, Colton Hawks at 184, both of whom ended up losing pretty badly. In both cases, it was a close match heading into the third. Edmond and Hawks both kind of went for these big moves, and they both kind of really backfired. Edmond actually tried to throw Saunders to the mat kind of backwards, and it led to a takedown and a 4-point near fall for Saunders. He drops a 12-4 major decision. And then at 184 for Colton Hawks, it's an 8 versus 9 matchup in the country. 2-0 lead for Foca. It's 2-1 in the third period. He tries to use his strength to get around Foca, a move that's worked for Hawks pretty well this year, but it ends up giving Foca a really big opening to counterattack, and he ended up scoring a takedown and 4 near fall. Ends up with a 9-1 major decision. Some positives, though, for Mizzou, though they were few and far in between. Zeke Seltzer, 149, getting a win. Ends up getting a really nice third period. Ties it up. He was down 1-0 heading into it. Ties it up with an escape. He ends up ducking under Botello, single leg shot after the duck under for the takedown, rides out the period for the extra point. And then the highlight of this match was the very first one. Gage Walker, the true freshman, wasn't supposed to be starting this year, and he's done really well in place of Noah Certain. He ends up getting his first career pin in a dual meet with a victory by fall over Marcelo Milani. He was the better wrestler for most of this. Limited action, really, in the first 2 periods. I think they were tied heading into the third. And then Walker got in on the shot, single leg, gets behind him, nearly goes for a takedown, switches it up, and then gets a big move. The takedown, and then that leads into the pin as well. So big moment for Walker, a guy who's starting to look more and more like a long-term cornerstone for this program, and somebody who can kind of lock down that 125 spot now for the next 4 years with the retirement of Noah Certain. And possibly move up to 133 at some point as well, because they have a really, really big group, a lot of highly touted recruits at 125. So I have a feeling that some of them are going to end up bumping up to 133.
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but my camera stopped
What the hell happened
working.
to Karen?
We can hear you.
Okay, you're fine.
I'm here. My camera just turned off. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Are we going to have to use our Zoomer abilities to try and get your camera back on?
No, it's okay. You can just hear me though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm speaking into
Okay.
a
You don't
black
need to
hole.
see me. Thank you for the update, Matthew. Quickly, Abigail's not with us, but she does have a track and field update. So after Mizzou got its nice track and field upgrade, which Matthew actually got to see over at Hearnes, he took a field trip around to go look at the track. Track and field will be hosting its first home meet since 2020. It is called the Alexis Jarrett Invitational on Saturday. And Abigail wanted us to know that it is named after a Mizzou coach who helped jumpstart women's sports at Mizzou. She coached track, women's basketball, and softball, was an SID and an assistant sports director when Mizzou launched 8 new women's sports programs in 1974 and 1975. So, holy crap.
This is what I'm talking about. We need creatively named tournaments. We don't need the Mizzou Invitational in volleyball. We need the Krukla Invitational or something creative.
Yeah.
I will continue to bang my fist on the pulpit over this issue. I've done it on shows before. I'll continue to do it. We need more creatively named tournaments. So bravo, Mizzou. Congratulations. You have accomplished that task.
All right, Matthew, I'm going to pitch you a question that we actually answered in a football article last year when it was announced that teams were allowed to put sponsorships on their field. If you had to pick a company to sponsor a Mizzou tournament, who would you want and why?
In what sport?
Well, you mentioned the Mizzou Invitational in volleyball, so we'll go with that.
Okay. Let's see. Can I think about that and get back to you by the end of the show? Okay.
A lot of good local companies and restaurants and other places to pick from. So understandable that you need some more time.
I'll get on the research and get back to you.
Okay, sounds good.
One more thing about track and field, and I'm back. Turns out my camera didn't want to be on HD anymore, and I just needed to change it to different pixels or something. I don't know. Anyway, so for this event, they will be doing a whole slew of events, from distance events to pole to jumping to everything. Teams that will be competing will be Columbia College, SIUE, Central Methodist, Kansas City, Oral Roberts, and Washington University in St. Louis. Yeah. So that is that. We're almost done. I swear. Out of season sports updates real quick. Softball. Some of us, we got a bunch of softball fans here. Softball America and D1 Softball released some watch lists, some player rankings. So Softball America listed Mizzou pitcher Sierra Harrison as number 87 in their top 100. Players or pitchers? I think it's players.
It's players overall.
And I'm currently not subscribed. I I refuse to pay for softball, American D1 softball in the off season because that's just an expense I don't want to deal with. So I couldn't go look at it to make sure. But I think it's number 87 in their top 100 players overall. And then freshman Madison Updegrove, Como native, father Tolton grad, I believe, and Sanaya Hill were named to the D100 freshman watch list by D1 softball. So that was pretty cool. And then Courtney Donahue, apparently I saw today, was named the 2024 Tucci/NFCA Division II Pitcher of the Year last year. So she was a JUCO pitcher that came from Des Moines Area Community College. And then I was going to show this video. I don't feel like it now. Go look at Mizzou softball Twitter. They have some Power Alley thing that they debuted that looks real cool. Go look at it. And then real quick, we are back to volleyball. There were no new commits, but there are some departures. And then Matthew also has some pro volleyball news.
Yep. So why don't we start with the coaching departure, that being assistant coach Ariel Wilson was the defensive coordinator, I think recruiting coordinator as well. She is moving up to be the head coach at Central Michigan in the MAC. This was kind of an inevitable thing. All three of Mizzou's assistants are really good, right? I think all of them have the required experience to be head coaches at this point. And Wilson really looks like she's set up to potentially thrive there. She has a lot of experience with recruiting in that area. She was I believe, 3-time All-American and 4-time national champion at Penn State. She's coached at DePaul. She's coached at Michigan State as well. So she has a lot of experience in that Great Lakes region and out east as well, which is going to be kind of where you want to recruit in the MAC, right? Especially in Michigan. She has that prior experience. And we've seen, as far as we can tell, she's phenomenal developing players, right? Defensive coordinator for Mizzou. We talked about it, that really almost unbelievable transformation of that defense throughout the year, to being from one of the worst, if not the worst in the SEC, to one of its best. And that happened just over the span of conference play. So I think that she absolutely deserves a lot of credit for that. And I'm sure that Central Michigan felt the same way as they end up hiring her as a head coach. And she's going to be somebody, I think, to look out for in the future, because I would be surprised if she doesn't end up as a Power 4 head coach at some point.
Awesome. And then we also have a couple players that have left and resurfaced at some other locations.
So first we'll go into the transfers. Aspen Maxwell, we previously knew that she had entered the transfer portal. She will now be going to Rutgers, which is an interesting fit because she's from Texas, so not exactly where you would expect a Texas native to transfer to, but ends up being back in the Power 4, right, at the Big Ten. And then Vivian Parker, this one was surprising. We hadn't seen that she'd even entered the transfer portal. And she never put out like a commitment graphic. She never put out anything basically saying that she committed. Basically what she did was she changed her Instagram and Twitter bios from @MizzouVB to St. Mary's Volleyball in California in the WCC. And that was the only thing that she did to basically show that not only was she going to a new school, she was in the transfer portal in the first place. So that was a little bit interesting there. So now two of the six freshmen from last year have moved on. Mizzou is now one player over the roster limit. They're at 19. So at least one more player will have to exit the team. Some positive news, though. Michael Vernon, the first pro from this senior class to announce where she'll be playing professionally. She's going to Italy. She signed a pro contract with Accademia Sant'Anna Messina in Italy in the Serie A2.
I'm sorry, say that again? Are you
Academica.
Italian?
No, I'm just good at like
Coded.
pronunciation.
He's just
And
really awesome at pronouncing things.
I know. Say it again.
Accademica Sant'Anna Messina.
Damn.
Matt, my washing machine just started floating after you said that. Let's not do that again.
I do live in an area where there's like a Little Italy right by where I live, and one of my great uncles is married to. So basically, my great aunt is her maiden name was Mary Ann Capria. So I do have that going for me. Help with the pronunciation.
And then it taught you to say that name that doesn't sound anything like that person's name.
Sure.
Awesome.
And then pro volleyball starting up. For the first time, the U.S. has two major pro volleyball leagues. League One Volleyball, LOVB, or Love Volleyball as they say. I don't understand why they pronounce it Love Volleyball. I don't get it, to be honest with you.
I love it.
And then the PVF Pro Volleyball Federation. Mizzou has players in both. League One got started up tonight with their first ever match, and then PVF is going into its second season. They're getting started up tomorrow. One player for Mizzou in League One, Emily Thader. She's a middle with Love Omaha, and really successful at Mizzou. Part of the most successful class of players in Mizzou history. Top 5 all time in the program with total blocks. And then in the PVF, you have 4 players who were Tigers, none of whom actually finished their career as a Tiger.
Thanks, Josh Taylor.
All of them played during the Taylor era. I think some of them left after Taylor was fired, and then others just grad transferred elsewhere or made the move. So Anna Dixon is with the Atlanta Vibe. Kaylee Cox is with the Columbus Fury. Ligator member Mena is with India Ignite. And Kayla Caffey is with the Omaha Supernovas. So
that's cool.
5 total Tigers in the pro leagues in the U.S., 2 of whom are in Omaha. So if you want to make a 5-hour drive, you can see one. It's not that bad of a drive, as both Dylan and I know. Especially if you start naming random 1920s college football players.
It's not a scenic drive, but it's an easy drive. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And that sounds like riveting conversation.
Oh, it was. It really was. You would be shocked. There was a Yale football player who was really good, became the first pro player, and eventually became a U.S. Treasury Secretary.
Interesting.
Pudge Heffelfinger.
Real name.
Wikipedia read. Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, and don't disrespect Shorty Longman. Also a real person.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Glad we could bless you with this information.
Oh, the one more thing I wanted to add for volleyball. If you want to watch Emily Thader in League One, those matches will be on ESPN Plus, ESPN, and LOVB Live is free on League One's website. And then the PVF is splitting his matches between CBS Sports Network and Fox Sports 1/2 alongside YouTube. I think the YouTube stream will go up, I think, the day after the matches.
Nice. I wonder if, and I assume they'll have announcers and everything.
Yep.
Like that.
And there is good news for anybody listening in Kansas City. From what I remember, there's a PVF team coming to Kansas City next year.
That's
and
cool.
League One is also having their mid-season tournament in Kansas City.
Huh.
So pro volleyball coming to KC this year and more permanently next year.
Awesome. Thank you, Matthew. Always on top of our volleyball news. I love the program. I enjoyed being a season ticket holder. It was super fun. And I can't wait for next year.
Oh, I just realized.
You will keep us abreast of all information that we need should they get any more transfers out or new people in or anything like that. I know.
I realized I need to answer Quentin's question.
Oh, yeah.
I have 3 different options for you. All right?
I'm ready.
And I think they're all pulled from the article that we wrote together way back.
Yeah.
So number 1 is Enterprise, because Enterprise cars on the highway, just like Mizzou volleyball, are going places fast.
Nice.
Okay.
Number 2.
Hopefully not too fast. You have to obey the speed limit.
Number 2, Mizzou has a pretty strong history of getting players from the Springfield area, and obviously Lake of the Ozarks is right there. So Bass Pro Shops. Mizzou also recently established Johnny Morris Institute of Fisheries, Wetlands, and Aquatic Systems at the university, and it has a Columbia location. I feel like the Mizzou Bass Pro Shops Invitational, it just sounds cool. It sounds fun. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And then number 3, all of our favorite t-shirt shop in Columbia, strong supporters of Mizzou Athletics, 573 Tees, right off of Broadway. I have several of them myself. I'm sure we all do. And proud as members of Rockham to partner with them.
Nice. Good. Thank you. So this has been a long one, guys. But one last thing before we get out of here. Please head to Rockham Nation, support the work of all of these fine student journalists right here and all the other writers we have working for the site as well. As always, put out a lot of articles, wrote a lot of words. You can support us by subscribing to this podcast feed and leaving a 5-star review. You also can support us by signing up for RockM.Plus. It is just $5 a month. I would like to start using it more. I'm bad about it. Quentin's good about it. Matthew, I know you post stuff on there. Dylan, you post stuff on there. I'll try harder. Sorry. Got a lot going on. Someone's got to write 4,000 word recaps of gymnastics, They aren't going to write themselves. One could say, Sam would probably say maybe they could be shorter, but where's the fun in that? Also, you can follow us on the Twitter, which we're all still on. I am at Karen Steger. Matthew is at M_Gustafson27. Dylan is at Dylan R. Heinrich. Quentin is at Quentin Corpuel. Rory is at Rory Whetstone 7. And Abigail, though she's not with us, is Abigail_clap with a K.
Oh, what? Were you guys in on that? That's rude if you were.
That's what?
The clap.
At the exact same time.
That was crazy.
Well, they just know because I do it every time.
Yeah.
Oh.
You would
So
know that.
I need to figure myself out, is what you're saying.
You'll catch on eventually. You got a later start with this than we did, so.
That's true. It is.
That's
It is
true.
11:19 local time for me. So.
Oh God.
Oh, it's true.
So, thank you for joining us. See you next time. MIC.
CLU.
Oh, thank you, Quentin.
You're
That was
welcome.
So good. All right.
Glad I can make you proud.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and the benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcasts app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.